Society tells you that if you work hard, build your wealth, and become the one in charge, you become untouchable. But in dark psychology, your success doesn't make you a fortress. It makes you the most valuable person in the room, and the most vulnerable to those who know how to exploit it. Think about the highest achieving woman you know. Maybe it's you. You run the team. You manage the finances. You are the anchor everyone relies on when things fall apart. You think people respect your competence. But covert manipulators don't see your strength as a virtue. They see it as a completely free, highly efficient utility. There is a specific type of covert manipulator, often a partner, a family member, or a trusted colleague, who uses a Machiavellian tactic called weaponized perfectionism. They know you cannot stand to watch things fail, so they intentionally drop the ball. They play helpless. They feed you lines like, "I could never do this as well as you," or "You're just so much stronger than I am." That isn't a compliment. That is intermittent reinforcement. A calculated manipulation tactic designed to trap you in a cycle of silent burnout. They are letting you carry the weight of the world simply so they can ride on your shoulders. In this video, I'm going to expose the exact psychological strategies people use to siphon the energy and wealth of elite, high-functioning women, and the mental frameworks you must adopt today to permanently cut them off. But first, lock this into your mind and drop it in the comments. My competence is mine, not a resource for others to mine. Now, let's get into the dark psychology they're counting on you never naming. Everything I'm about to show you is a pattern used specifically against high-achieving women. You're learning this so you can name it, not to use it. Recognition is your protection. Principle 1. The illusion of indispensable status. Think about the last time someone said, "I don't know what we'd do without you." Did that come right before they handed you something that was never your responsibility? That's not gratitude. That's operant conditioning. Machiavelli wrote in The Prince that the wise ruler doesn't just use force, he uses the appearance of need. He makes the capable person feel chosen, irreplaceable. Because a person who believes they're indispensable will do extraordinary things for ordinary recognition. Your corporation does this. Your partner does this. Even your closest friend group does this. "You're so strong. I could only trust you with this." And every time you hear it, something in you stands a little straighter, because you were taught that capability earns love. That if you just do enough, be enough, someone will finally see you and stay. But here's the brutal truth. The more indispensable you become, the less they invest in you. Why would they? You've made yourself too useful to lose and too exhausted to leave. Recognize when you're performing indispensability out of fear rather than choice. Protecting your energy isn't failure, it's self-preservation. Watch how fast "I could only trust you with this" shifts to someone else the moment you're unavailable. That tells you everything. But here's where it gets worse. Because the indispensability trap has an enforcement mechanism, one so subtle most women never catch it operating on them. Principle 2. Exploitative guilt indoctrination cycles. Max Weber identified guilt-based compliance as the most insidious form of authority, the kind that doesn't command you, it simply makes you feel wrong for refusing. Think about how this sounds. "I just thought you cared more than this. I guess I was wrong about you." That's not communication. That's a guilt induction sequence. And it works specifically on high achievers because your identity is built around being good, reliable, the person who shows up. Threatening that identity, even implicitly, triggers the same fear response as a direct attack. Tacitus recorded how Tiberius never ordered senators to betray each other. He simply created conditions where not betraying each other felt like personal moral failure. Guilt weaponized through implication, 2,000 years old, happening right now in your office, your home, your closest relationships. And here's the cruelest part. The people running this cycle on you don't see themselves as manipulators. They've convinced themselves your saying no is you changing, you being selfish. Your boundary becomes proof of your coldness. The cycle is completely self-sealing. Name it to yourself. This is guilt induction. I'm being made to feel wrong for having a limit. Naming it breaks the automatic compliance. Respond from choice, not from shame. Drop this in the comments. I give from abundance, not from fear of being seen as less. But here's where it gets darker. Because underneath guilt and indispensability is something engineered at a level most people never detect. And once you see it, you won't be able to look away. Real quick, if you're still here, you're not just watching, you're recognizing something. In yourself, in your relationships, in the systems around you. You're not someone who passively absorbs content. You're someone who wants to understand the mechanism so you can dismantle it. That's rare. So hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because what comes next is the most dangerous trap of all, and it's the one most high-achieving women never escape. Now, back to what manipulators are counting on you never understanding. Principle 3. The engineered martyrdom trap. You've been taught that sacrifice is noble, that suffering quietly is strength. Rousseau called that manufactured consent. In The Social Contract, he drew a hard line between obligation you choose consciously and obligation engineered through years of conditioning, then handed back to you as your own desire. He called it a form of slavery the enslaved person defends as freedom. You didn't decide to be the one who holds everything together. You were shaped into it. Through praise when you sacrificed, through social and emotional punishment when you didn't. Through the story, repeated 1,000 subtle ways that a strong woman doesn't put herself first. John Locke wrote that legitimate authority requires ongoing consent, not just initial agreement. The moment you stop freely choosing something and start feeling you can't stop without catastrophic personal consequence, you are no longer in a voluntary arrangement. You are in a trap that looks like a choice from the inside. The highest achieving women in history didn't burn out because they were weak. They burned out because they were exceptional people operating inside systems specifically calibrated to extract exceptional people. And once you truly see that, you cannot unsee it. Principle 4. Calculated emotional starvation tactics. Here's the contradiction that will shake you. The people most skilled at extracting your labor give you the least emotional return. And you work harder because of it, not less. That's intermittent reinforcement fully exposed. Variable reward schedules, unpredictable praise, occasional warmth, random recognition create stronger behavioral loops than consistent reward. A slot machine pays out just enough, just unpredictably enough, to keep you pulling the lever. Now replace the slot machine with a partner who's cold most of the time, but occasionally deeply warm. Or a manager who ignores your work for weeks, but once calls you exceptional in front of everyone. Machiavelli documented this in Cesare Borgia, his case study in The Prince. Borgia deliberately kept allies uncertain, not out of genuine relationship, but as a control mechanism. When someone in your life runs hot and cold, that is the same playbook. And now you can see it for what it is. You're not weak for responding to this. The mechanism bypasses rational evaluation entirely. It runs in the same neural pathways as early attachment. Track patterns, not moments. Over 6 months, over a year. What does this relationship actually give versus take? Data over dopamine. Pattern over peak experience. Repeat after me. I am not a slot machine. My devotion is not a lever to pull. The indispensability illusion, the guilt cycles, the martyrdom trap, the emotional starvation. One coordinated system. And that system has an off switch. What comes next is how you find it. Principle 5. Strategic Competence Boundary Implementation. This isn't about becoming cold or calculating. It's about recognizing that healthy relationships are built on mutual respect, not extraction. Machiavelli's realism and Locke's rights theory converge on one truth. Legitimate relationships are ones where both parties maintain agency, not where one person exhausts themselves for the other's benefit while calling it love or loyalty or strength. Weber's framework of rational authority is the lens you need now. In healthy institutions, authority is granted on the basis of role and competence, not guilt, not manufactured obligation, not emotional coercion. Apply that to your own life. Where is your competence being accessed beyond your role? Where are you doing emotional labor, executive labor, invisible labor, that no one negotiated with you and no one compensates in any currency? Name those places, not with rage, with clarity. Montesquieu argued that freedom isn't the absence of law, it's the right laws applied to everyone equally. Your liberation isn't lowering your standards, it's applying your standards symmetrically. What do I expect of myself? What am I allowed to expect in return? If those two answers live in completely different universes, the system is running on you, and it's time to redirect that exceptional capacity back toward yourself. Your development, your recovery, your vision. Starting today. You came here feeling the quiet exhaustion of being capable in a system that consumes capability without acknowledgement. You learned that indispensability is a leash dressed as a compliment, that guilt cycles and intermittent praise are mechanisms, not love, that the martyrdom trap runs on manufactured obligation dressed as personal identity. Machiavelli saw the game. Rousseau named the manufactured consent. Locke insisted on freely given, ongoing agreement as the only legitimate foundation for any relationship. Montesquieu demanded symmetric accountability. Weber gave us the language to see which authority is real and which is simply imposed. You are not the same person who pressed play. If this gave you language for something you've only ever felt, share it with one woman in your life who needs to hear it. Not because she's struggling, because she's exceptional, and exceptional people are the most targeted. Hit that like button if this resonated. Subscribe, because the psychology of how power operates and how to protect yours goes deeper still. A woman who understands how she's being used is no longer available to be used. That awareness is the first act of real freedom. Know what you are, know what you're worth, and give it strategically, selectively, entirely on your own terms.